Hello, Namaste students. Welcome back to Sumanth tutorial. In this session, we are going to discuss the content called as refraction through a prism. So, prism na refraction ಏನೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? What are the most important thing that we should know with respect to the refraction for grade 10 physics ICSE? We are going to discuss today. Before I start, once again, I will say a few instructions like keep a pen and the paper ready with you. So I'm going to say very important topic there, and then itself you can make a note on it. So let us start with today's session. So let me write a simple prism. It's a two-dimensional. Yeah, this is the prism, the two-dimensional one. So if I name it, this will be A, B, and C, right? So here, AB and AC are the two refracting surface. I repeat, here AB, AC are the two refracting surface, and the two refracting surface meeting at the point that forms an angle we used to represent by the letter A. This A is called as angle of the prism. Angle of the prism. ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ angle of the prism. When two refracting surface meets at a point, that vertex, the angle is going to form, we call it as angle of the prism. ನೋಡಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, the minimum deviation when a monochromatic light passes through a prism. ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಿಸಮ್ಗೆ ಮೊನೋಕ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಲೈಟನ್ನು ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ದ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಡೆವಿಯೇಷನ್. ಆ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋಣ. Now see here, first we should know what do you mean by a monochromatic light. I will say a monochromatic light is a type of light which have only one wavelength. Single wavelength ಇರುವಂತಹ ಲೈಟ್ ನ monochromatic light ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. See, I repeat one more time. A monochromatic light is a ray of light which is having single wavelength. Means if we pass that light to the prism, it will not disperse into 7 colors. As it is a single wavelength, a single ray of light will gonna come. See here. So let me draw a incident ray like this. A ray which is incident on it. We call it as a incident ray. How to get a monochromatic light? Through a small slit, we are gonna pass a monochromatic light. Okay, now see here. This is the rarer medium and this is the denser medium. So let me draw a normal to the surface. So let me mark a normal line. So the normal line which forms 90 degree with the refracting surface. So let me mark here N1, the normal line. Now see here. Let me mark the points like PQ. The ray PQ is an incident ray which is incidenting on a refracting surface AB with an angle of incidence I1. So what is angle of incidence? Angle of incidence is the angle formed between normal and the incident ray. Is it clear? Clear alla? Now we will go forward. See here, whenever the ray of light is moving from rarer medium to the denser medium, it bends towards the normal. Now see here, this is the refracting ray. Yeah. So let me mark with the arrow mark the ray of light coming like this, QR, PQ, and here. This let me mark it as R. Now see here, the ray of light incident at a point Q, as it passes to the denser medium, it bends towards the normal. Now see here, this angle you can see, we used to call it as angle R1. So you can see that difference I1 and R1. Here I1 is greater than R1. Obviously we know when a ray of light is passing from rarer medium to a denser medium, it bends towards the normal. Obviously angle of incidence must be greater than angle of refraction. Up to here, is it clear? Now see here. Once again, let me draw a normal at this surface. Let me mark a normal line. Let me mark here as N2. The normal N2 is the normal to the surface AC. AC line ಗೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ normal, that is N2. Now see here once again. Now the ray of light in a denser medium, it is coming out from the denser to a rarer, so it bends away from the normal. Now see here, let me mark here the refracted ray. Now the line what I had written is emergent ray, RS. So I repeat, PQ incident ray, QR refracted ray, RS emergent ray. RS is called as emergent ray. Now see here, here also it forms an angle of emergence. I am marking here I2, and here R2, that is the angle of incident at the second surface. Sure? Clear? So this is the basic diagram. Now see here. Imagine this prism is not there. ಈ prism ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡೋಣ. ಹೌದಾ? ಈ prism ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡೋಣ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ see here, the ray would have passed like this. ಏನ್ PQ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಈ ತರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಹೌದಾ? Are you getting what I am telling? ನಾನು ಏನು ಬರ್ದೀನಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Imagine ಈ ಪ್ರಿಸಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪಿ ಕ್ಯೂ ರೇ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ದೆನ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಸಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಟ್ಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಫ್ಯೂ ಆಂಗಲ್. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೆಯೋಣ? ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ 1 ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯೋಣ. ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ 1 ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್. ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಬರೀ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್, ಈ ಪ್ರಿಸಮ್ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ ರೇ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಸಮ್ ಅದು ರೇ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟಿಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಬೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿವಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿವಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ? ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ 1 ಅಷ್ಟು ಡಿವಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದೇ ತರ ಎಮರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ನಾನು ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಮರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ರೇ ಈಸ್ RS. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿದು ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ರೇ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ದ ರೇ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ I2 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾ? ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್, ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ 2. ಪಕ್ಕ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಬಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ 1 is deviation occur in a first surface. Delta 2 is the deviation occur at the second surface. Then can you see an angle formed here? This is delta. So this is deviation. Deviation occur in a prism. So this is how to pronounce this, delta. So that is the deviation produced in a prism. So this is the most important diagram that you have to practice, because you may expect the question in a board like this. Draw a ray diagram showing the minimum deviation of a monochromatic light when it is passing through a prism. You may expect the question. So this is how you should draw the diagram. Sure? Diagram part is okay na? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪಾಸ್ ದ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡ್ರಾ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಮೇ ಸೇ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಟೈಮ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್. I1 angle of incidence, I2 angle of emergence, R1 refraction at the first surface, R2 if it is incident from here, so we can take it as R2 refracting angle of incident at the first surface, or angle of refraction at the second surface. Now say second surface. Then delta 1 is the deviation occur at the first surface, delta 2 is the deviation occur at the second surface, and delta is the deviation. ಇಷ್ಟು ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ನೆನಪಿರುತ್ತಾ? Then the most important relationship related to these things I am gonna write here. ಏನಪ್ಪ? The first relationship, to calculate delta you should know the formula I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. So let me write here equation number 1, the most important equation that you have to remember here. So I repeat, if you want to calculate this deviation, you can use this formula I1 plus I2 minus of R1 plus R2. First equation is clear. Now This R1 plus R2 is nothing but A, that is angle of the prism. The most important one. See this R1 plus R2. Can you see here R1 and R2? If you sum these two, that will gonna give the value of angle of the prism. So this R1 and plus R2 will be equal to A, that is but angle of the prism. Then if I substitute R1 plus R2 as 1 in a equation 1, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus A. ಹೌದಾ? So please transpose minus A to the other side. Minus A changes to plus A. Then delta plus A will be equal to I1 plus I2. Remember this formula, the most important one, the most important relationship. So to calculate the value of delta or angle of the prism or angle of the incidence of the first surface or the angle of emergence, ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ you must know this relationship. Here equation 1 and this one relationship I will call it as equation number 2 and equation number 3. All three are important. All three are important. Note ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಾ? Sure? 100% clear? No doubt? Okay, then see here. If you are having no doubt, then let me explain the same content with the help of a graph. This graph is most important. See here, let me draw a graph, x-axis and the y-axis. Let me take, see here, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. What are the things that we are going to consider in the x and the y-axis? In a x-axis, we are going to take angle of incidence versus in a y-axis if we take deviation. ಅಂದರೆ x-axis ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು angle of incidence ನ ತಗೊಂಡು y-axis ಅಲ್ಲಿ deviation ತಗೊಂಡು for this deviation equation plot ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, if we plot a graph, we will get a graph like this. So let me erase this one so it will be easy for you to understand. You will get a graph like this. The most important graph that you have to remember. Nodi, angle of incidence versus deviation I never plot ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ prism ಅಲ್ಲಿ, if I calculated and if I plot a graph, I will get a graph like this. See here, as if you observe this graph, ಈ graph ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? It's very clear. As you increase the angle of incidence, angle of incidence na increase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ first deviation decreases, reaches some minimum value. Further increase in the angle of incidence, deviation increases continuously. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ? It's very simple. Angle of incidence versus deviation ಇವೇನಾದ್ರು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ, as you increase the angle of incidence like 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree, 40 degree ಇಂದ angle of incidence ನ increase ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗೆ deviation ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, reaches the minimum value reach ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫರ್ದರ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್, ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಆಂಗಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ. ಸಿ, ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ವೇರ್ we are gonna get delta minimum, deviation is minimum for the particular angle of incidence I. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಏನು ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು? Delta minimum will be equal to 2i minus a. This is also one of the most important relationship that you have to remember. You have to remember. Note ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ. Delta minimum. Can you see this one? This part is the delta minimum. Delta minimum will be equal to 2i minus a. I represents incidence for the particular angle of incidence. A is angle of the prism. Then there are 2 points, let me mark here. So this is I1, this is I2 for a few value of delta. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್, ಅದೊಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ಗೆ this will be I1 and this will be I2 and this will be the deviation. ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾ? Clear? Remember, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಡಿ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್, ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಬಿ, ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 3 ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಎ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು I1 ಪ್ಲಸ್ I2 ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ I1, I2 and the delta. If you want to calculate delta minimum, then you have to consider delta minimum for the particular angle of incidence. ಇಷ್ಟು ನೆನಪಿರುತ್ತಾ? ಇಷ್ಟು ನೆನಪಿರುತ್ತಾ? Are you sure? Are you sure? Any doubt? No doubt in that one? Is that concept is clear? Okay? Very good. I request you to once note down this one. Done? Note it down. Now see here. There is a numerical. So it will be related to this angle of the angle of minimum deviation. The numerical was like this. So let it be as usual. Let me mark. There is a graph shown below for a certain material, and the values they had given like this. Calculate the value of x. This is the value of x. For some angle, it is here they had given 46 and 40 followed by 37 and the 41. See, for a certain material, they had given this graph and they have informed us to calculate the value of x and the minimum deviation. See here, in a graph, they will not specify delta and the delta minimum. This will not be present. It is irrelevant. Okay, now they will provide like this. Here also they won't mark anything. I1, I2, it will not be marked. So now it will be easy. Here it is x and here it is 40 and 37, 41. Now what the things they have asked us? First thing is calculate delta minimum for a particular angle of incidence ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. See here, we know very clearly at the bottom what it is there. This is the delta minimum. So delta minimum will be equal to 37 degree for a corresponding angle of incidence is 46 degree. Okay, now so this you have to remember. It's very easy. By looking at this one, you can write this 1 mark question. See, delta minimum 37 illide. This is delta minimum for the particular angle of incidence is 46 degree. 1 mark is over. Now go for the 2 mark one. Calculate the value of x anta kelidare. See, ee x anta bandaga you have to use the formula delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus a. For this particular, they had given this is 62 degree. So the value of a is 62. They had given. Okay, now just substitute the value. So delta is this one. So this is delta. This is delta minimum. Confusion agbardu. Pakkana. See, our delta is 41. 41 is equal to I1 is 40 plus I2 is the value of x minus the angle of prism is 62 degree. Clear? Clear? No doubt? Okay, now see, calculation is very simple. Minus 62 plus 40. So subtract. So 6 minus 4 is 2. Minus 22 degree. Transfer to that one, that will becomes positive. Then 22 plus 41, 3 and 40, 63 degree. See here, the value of x will be equal to 63 degree. Okay, na? Sure. So this is how you should calculate. Are you getting the content? So this is the entire content about the refraction through a prism. Here everything is present on the board. So I will allow you to copy that one 5 minutes of time. So pause the video. Aram say you can copy that. Yeah, students. So if you are clear with that content, next we will go for some simple applications. some simple application of your refraction. So if I say simple applications, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದೇ ನಮಗೆ ರಿಯಲ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಪರೆಂಟ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ರಿಯಲ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಪರೆಂಟ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಎನಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ವಾಟರಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಪೂಲ್, ಸೊ ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಪೂಲ್ನ ನೀವು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ and if the pool is filled with the water and if you see the pool, the depth of the pool, it appears to be a bit raised. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ, ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲ? ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯು ಡೂ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಟೇಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಲಿಡ್. So plastic water bottle lid, better go for. So don't take that one thermo flask one, it is not possible. Take the plastic water bottle, keep it on your palm. So make sure that it is almost horizontal, a little bit down, and you just place a coin inside so that you can't able to see the coin. Then inform your friends to pour a water. After a few seconds you can able to see the coin inside. Before that it is not visible. When you pour the water you can able to see it. Hagadre, what are the things you have seen there? See here, imagine this is the tub. Let me take it as here, a tub filled with the water up to this level, and a coin is placed. Hodala. If it is viewed from here, imagine there is no water at all. Hodala. So direct like this, you are gonna view. But when it is filled with the water, so this coin appears to be here, right? So why this is happening? This is because of refraction of the light. Now the question arises, right? What are the things you are gonna observe here? Illenilla observe madidira. See, from here to here, what you are gonna get, this is called as real depth. So illinda illige iruvantaddu real depth. From here to here, we call it as apparent depth. Depth. And this small change we used to call it as a shift. What are the three things? One is the real depth, another one is the apparent depth, and another one is the shift. Then as usual, what are the relationship between these three? It's very clear. See, first is the refractive index, the most important, that plays a maximum role here. Refractive index of the material. Then see here, the refractive index of water with respect to air. If you take here glass with respect to air, it will be equal to real depth by apparent depth. So what is the relationship? So it's very clear. Refractive index will be equal to real depth minus apparent depth. Then next is the shift. To calculate shift, S will be equal to real depth of 1 minus 1 by mu. You have to remember these two relationships, the most important relationship. So what is the relationship? Mu will be equal to real depth by apparent depth. Refractive index of the medium will be equal to the ratio of real depth and apparent depth. Another one is shift. Shift will be equal to real depth of 1 minus 1 by mu. Okay, na? Sure? Will you able to recognize the things? Or you want me, if you want me to pause, I'm gonna pause it. You can copy this one. If not, I will continue Marberna. Okay, now see here. The question will be like this. See, the refractive index of the water is 4 by 3. What is the refractive index of the water? Water is 4 by 3. A coin inside the water appears to be raised by 3 millimeter. So calculate the real depth where the coin is placed. See here, if you listen to my words very carefully, I used one word like it appears to be raised by. ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ವಿಚ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೇಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೇಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸೀನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೇಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪದಾನ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಡಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್. Then we have to calculate here real depth. Direct question ಕೇಳಿದರೆ. Then how to solve? Use the formula. See, we know the formula shift is equal to real depth of 1 minus 1 by mu. The next is substitution. See here 3 millimeter it is given. Okay, so let me write here 3 millimeter is equal to real depth. I have to calculate of 1 minus 1 by mu is 4 by 3. So let me write here mu is 4 by 3. Okay, now easy way to calculate. 3 is equal to real depth of 1 minus, take the reciprocal, this becomes 3 by 4. ಹೌದಲ್ಲ? So 4 by 3 ಇದೆ, ನ್ಯೂಮರೇಟರ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ 3 by 4 ಆಯಿತು. So it's very clear. 1 minus 3 by 4, it is 1 by 4. ಒಂದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಕ್ಕಾಲು ಕಳೆದ್ರೆ ಉಳಿಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕಾಲು ಭಾಗ. Then see here, I will write here 3 is equal to real depth of 1 by 4. 1 minus 3 by 4 is 1 by 4. Then shift the 4 here. Then real depth will be equal to 3 into 4. So real depth is 12 millimeter. Clear? Real depth is 12 millimeter. So if you want to represent in terms of centimeter, then real depth will be equal to 1.2 centimeter. So it's very clear. What the question says? The refractive index of the water. The refractive index of the water is 4 by 3. And a coin is placed inside it. Appears to be raised by 3 millimeter. What is the real depth of the coin? So we are going to use this formula. Shift is equal to real depth of 1 by 1. 1 minus 1 by mu. After all calculation, we got the answer as 12 millimeter or 1.2 centimeter. Clear? No doubt? Okay. Copy that. Okay, done. Next is the factors affecting this shift. Which are the factors on which the shift depends? Andre, here we can take 3. So one is the refractive index. As it is directly proportional, more the refractive index, more the shift. So if the refractive index of the medium is increasing, obviously shift will gonna increase. Second is thickness. Thickness of the glass slab, or if it is water means thickness of the tumbler. If it is more, thickness is increasing more and more, obviously the shift will increase. The next is most important, the wavelength. See here, for the wavelength, if wavelength increases, shift decreases. This you remember the most. It is inversely proportional. I repeat one more time. It directly depends on refractive index. That is, if mu increases, then shift will also increase. Then another one is the thickness, or you can say the real depth. If it increases, then shift will increase. But for wavelength, if wavelength increases, now wavelength ಅಂತಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, I am talking about VIBGYR, violet to red color. If I am taking violet, now I am comparing with the red, means shift will decrease. Violet has the least wavelength, but it deviates max. ಇದನ್ನ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. I repeat one more time. Violet has the least wavelength which bends maximum. Red has the maximum wavelength and it bends least. That is the reason if the wavelength increases, violet in the red kadege hogta idini, I am moving towards violet to the red color, then the shift decreases. That's it. So this is the most important two concept. One is a refraction through a prism. followed by simple application of real depth and apparent depth along with the shift. I think you people are clear with the content. Okay, so in the next class, we are going to discuss the content about the critical angle. Refraction or total internal reflection occurs through a prism. Till now, take care, continuously practice. And one more thing, if you have not subscribed to my tutorial, please subscribe, comment and share. Like it, don't forget. Till now, take care. Bye bye.